Hey guys, welcome to Sketch Day. What's up? Still getting set up here, so bear with me. I'm doing some iPad sketching today. I'm using Procreate on an iPad Pro. What's up, Simon? Big Bass Fishing. How you doing? Hope it switched over. Yeah, it switched over. Okay. Happy Tuesday. Took yesterday off. Had to catch up on some life and real work stuff. So thanks for being patient, being the best fans. Posted an update to the Patreon as well. A few lessons learned while doing some commission work. So I'll be doing more posts like that behind the scenes, showing you what I'm up to. That being said, thanks for joining. As always, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. Counting down to many things, I'll just say that. Trying to be a bit more consistent too, so I put up kind of the schedule for the week as I anticipated. So if you go to the YouTube, you will see all the scheduled videos that I'm planning for the week. So like I said, I'm using Procreate today. And it is Tuesday. I like to do transportation on Tuesdays. Oops. I forgot to connect. I like to do transportation on Tuesdays, so I'm going to do a little bit of that. If you're watching on Instagram, I'm about to connect my Super Magic special dongle here. So if you want a better view, check out the YouTube. That's where it'll be. There we go. Ah, what's happening? Got a little disconnected there. There we go. All right, so we'll do a warm up. Got my tea ready to go. If you want to chat, YouTube is the place you want to be. That's where I'm hanging out, and at least that's where I'm paying attention. Aight. Oh, I have two YouTube windows open. I didn't realize. I guess I was giving myself an extra view. Okay. A little bit of a warm up. I'm using my brush pack that I created today as well. So if you guys are interested, you can find that on sketchaday.com. All right, so I'm using an 11 by 17 canvas. I actually got couple interesting messages this week, so I want to make a couple notes. Talk about two things. One is, if you do buy my brush pack, I do tend to have a heavier hand when it comes to sketching. So if you want to adjust what's called your pressure curve and you're using Procreate, you can also do this in other drawing apps as well. So if I go to, I think it's preferences, yeah, edit pressure curve, then I can adjust my drawing. So I like heavy pressure. Okay, so that means that the more I push this up, the more pressure I need to register my stroke. So I like heavier pressure. That's what I'm doing. If you want a better view, like I said, check out YouTube. We've got kind of a full display of everything going there. All right. Let's see. Just making sure my other stream is up. I'm using that service. Yeah, it looks like we're up. So, hold please. I'm just tallying some windows on my screen here. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but it's okay. All right, I kind of got it. I have to be able to see everything at the same time, as much as possible anyways. Mystery is requesting, what's that? Oh yes, the weekly challenge is a helmet. That's what we're doing. So I'm gonna do some helmet stuff, but I'm also gonna do, I think I'm gonna warm up with an SUV because it is Transportation Tuesday. So that was the first thing. If you do use my brush pack, and I'll have to update with some instructions there, I think. I know some people have had some issues, but I do like to draw with a lot of pressure on the screen. The other was, I got an email from someone. Won't say who. Probably couldn't remember the name anyways, but I'll read it to you. Or at least some interesting tidbits in the email. I'll read that to you. See if I can pull that up here. Oh, they just replied. Says, hello Spencer, my name is, insert name. I'm a first year industrial design student. So as many of you know, I'm an industrial designer by trade, artist at heart. I just love drawing, but I love designing too. Let's make a new layer and I'll continue to do some ellipses while I read to you. I appreciate and find your videos and website totally helpful for my education. Let's see. In my design, I'll just say design drawing class that teaches how to draw, my instructor is so different from you. So my first thought was, where is this going? You know, I got this email. Where is this going? My instructor draws very carefully and slowly using a ruler, telling us not to draw ellipses in one move as I draw ellipses here. So I'm assuming the ellipses are something like that. I can't do my ellipses at least reliably in multiple moves. Anyhow, and in my guidebook, I do have a free guidebook if you sign up for my newsletter. That's another thing I want to mention is I'm going to be pushing on the newsletter a bit more because I've got some announcements that I'll be making for spring and summer. Some requests that people have made for a long time, and I need a more reliable way to communicate with everyone. So definitely go sign up for the newsletter. sketchaday.com/newsletter. Okay. He's drawing carefully using a ruler and telling us not to draw ellipses in one move. I'm just going to paste this link here for you guys. Telling us not to draw ellipses in one move. In my guidebook, I say draw fast and loose. I'm confused and really wonder what I should do. Well, I guess I just want to say that there's no one way to draw, right? There's no one way to draw. I draw a certain way. And I'm gonna pin this message today. That's gonna be my newsletter message. So I draw fast. I'm not the what I would consider to be the neatest sketcher, but for me a sketch is just that. It's quick visual expression. So I'm not really, if you've watched the show, there's a few where I've taken hours to finish a piece or whatever, but for the most part I definitely like loose sketch. So what should you do? Should is a curious word, but in terms of design sketching, what is that like? Well, if you're working as a designer or really as a creative, time is money. I kind of touch on that in my Patreon post today. Time is money, right? So the faster you can work, the more money you can get. The faster you work, more money you can get. So again, I'm using my Procreate brushes. That's the mega pack available on my website for sale. You can check it out. Check that out. But time is money, right? So the faster you can sketch, I'm gonna be warming up with some SUVs today. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm just gonna start by doing some outlines here. Scale this down, and I think what I'll do is we'll duplicate this layer and flip so I can use it as a template for my next sketch. Rotate slightly, scale, maybe do some warp stuff, change the shape, length, whatever. Just want to move quickly and not make them feel the same. So time is money. The faster you can sketch, the faster you can pump out ideas, the more efficient you'll be. And I think that is an important skill to have as a, I could be using the symmetry tool for this, but time. So I just figure I'll just go ahead and do this. Anyhow, so time is money, right? Try and figure out ways to be efficient where possible. I suppose I could have used, that'd be interesting here. I could have used the symmetry tool, like I said, for this, but maybe I'll just do half. Just do half of it or something. So yeah, some sort of SUV here. But yeah, time is money. Work quickly, work smart. When I was a student, I refused to overlay things, and it wasn't the smartest thing. But I learned a lot from that process too, I will say. Learned a lot from that process, so it wasn't all in vain. By that I mean just learning to be a bit more intentional with my sketches where I could be. Let's raise this up a little bit, something like that. Probably want to pull this up, but I'll leave it for now. And then I'll just bump out the wheels here. Anyhow, so going back to that email, I think the concern was, you know, hey, I'm being taught one thing, but you're showing me another thing. The important thing is just figuring out a way to efficiently communicate, whatever that might be for you. Some people like to do CAD, gravity sketch. Some people like to do paper prototypes. Just whatever works for you. At the same time, if you're taking a college course, you know, it's important to kind of listen to whoever's instructing you at the same time. So I get that. People are gonna say different things as much as I say different things. I'm gonna try and be a little bit more careful here. Just a little warm-up sketch today. All right, I'm gonna extend this line through just because I want there to be some continuity. Now, whether or not I do this concept, we'll see. I'll throw a light background on, some airbrushing, and we'll have some surfacing put in. Shubham says, I'm too fast, can't keep up. Well, good thing there's a replay. You don't have to follow along step by step as I'm doing this. But yeah, just figure out what works for you. That's a good place to, I think, be. If you're trying to figure out how should I sketch, whatever works for you. Shout out to the patrons. I see we have Latrice here today. Much love as always. Solid. Thank you so much for the support. Mecha Art, what's up? Thank you. Another patron. We're just warming up with a quick SUV, and then this week is helmets. That's what we're doing. Someone had a request for Viking Helmet. I'm not sure why. Got a request for Viking inspired helmet on Sunday, or at least I made my dystopian helmet Viking inspired, just for convenience. Sketches are available to patrons and channel members as always. So I decided I am going to try and translate this to sketch here. Also, I just worked out in case why is his hand so shaky today? I like literally just killed my chest and killed my biceps. So makes it a little bit harder to draw. All right, so what I want to do here now is I'm going to carry this line down. So I should probably be a bit more careful. Set a good example for you guys. That's what I should do. How do you feel about this time of day, by the way? I know I was kind of doing a little bit later. I'm curious if this works. I mean, not that you can stream at a time that's perfect for everyone around the world. I don't know if that's possible. don't know if that's possible, but I was streaming a little bit early, a little bit later for a bit, so curious how this works for you. I'm gonna come back and fix that in a little bit. Alright, so now I'm gonna do some wheels. And yes, apps like Procreate do let you draw a perfect ellipse. However, I like to practice. We'll do a quick shade on this guy. Probably just more of a tonal rendering. So yeah, if you've picked up my brush pack already, I appreciate the support. Thank you. And for those who have bought it, as I've said before, if you have any issues, let me know. Be happy to help you fix those or solve those. Procreate's a great app. There's great default brushes, but I wanted to create a set for designers and illustrators, at least, that kind of went along or goes along with the way I like to draw. Like I said, a little bit more heavy-handed for some of these pens. So we'll do one more, and then I will add some shading here. Let's get some generic rims in. So with the rims, as I've explained before, it's almost like, I made a new layer and showed you guys. It's almost like this wheel is on a plane. Okay, there's our familiar ellipse plane there. And further back, there's another plane. So, I guess I could do this in blue so you can see. So it's almost like there's another plane back here, but not only that, this plane is a little bit smaller. And I'm exaggerating this. This is not, like this distance is not, you know. In fact, if I want, I can move this square up a little bit. But what I'm trying to show is that there's an ellipse in here. And then, to draw the spokes, it's like you're taking the same segment here and here and drawing a line and then another line. That's just with straight lines, but hopefully you can kind of see why, you know, rims look the way they do. Right, when we're drawing a car, SUV, whatever. That's why they look that way. I'm gonna sip on my tea here, my caffeinated tea. Hey Vasisht, it's all good. I was just asking how the time is here. This time works. Oh, so it's nighttime where you are. Time zones do suck, but you can always catch a replay. I worked out as in I rode my exercise bike and I lifted some weights. That's what I did. So I'll upload this sketch and all the other sketches I do today. So what I meant earlier is in Procreate you can actually, you know, kind of slowly sketch this and then hold, and it now snaps to an ellipse, and there we have an ellipse for the wheel. But personally, it's just my preference. I like, let's go for some crazy rims. I like more hand-drawn look and feel when it comes to my sketches, so to each their own. I don't mind it being a little bit rough, which goes back to that email question I got. You know, what's the right way to sketch? Whatever gets you the result. I used to be a lot more prescriptive, meaning, no, you have to do it this way, but it really doesn't matter. It's all about how you sketch and if you can get the results you want. Everyone's different, right? I'm gonna see if I can reuse this rim. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I'm gonna see if I can reuse this on the back wheel, so I don't have to sketch it twice. Also, I will say sketching while talking is a little bit different than sketching while thinking on your own. It's a little bit different of a process. Alright, so I'm going to make a selection here. Let's see if we can just copy this. 3-finger swipe, duplicate. I'm going to move this to the back. Do some little scaly. And switch to freeform, pull this in, rotate slightly. And I'm close enough. Close enough that I'll take it. I'll take that. Merge down. Maybe do a little cleanup. So cleanup, you can clean up on your existing sketch if you want, or you can also you know, take this layer, 2-finger tap, swipe down, and then if I had a new layer here, this is where I could come in and get my cleaner lines, you know, take my time. But I'm not going to do that. Just for purposes of illustration, I'm showing you guys. Alright, so let's do one more quick concept here. So one thing that can happen with these apps, which is annoying, and I get why some people wear the gloves, is sometimes you get these like runaway strokes from like pinching and zooming, and if the position of your Apple Pencil, in my case, is too close to the screen. Happens with other tablets as well. But if the position's off, it can kind of mess up the screen a little bit. So just a little cleanup there. Kind of want to bring this forward a bit too. So my iPad does this weird thing. I don't know if you guys have iPads and it does this for you, but it does this weird thing where the screen will like get brighter. I think it's going into HDR mode and then coming out of HDR mode. But it does this like weird flicker thing. Not sure if Apple's aware of that problem. Kind of annoying. Alright, I just wanted to bring the front end out just a touch. And I can clean up a little bit. It's a weird surface. Yeah, it just did it again. It's so weird. So if you guys know what that is, let me know. Because it's freaking annoying. It's like really, really annoying. So yeah, sign up for the newsletter. If you haven't before and you do, you get a little discount code for the store and a free sketch tip guide, if you will. Just a few tidbits little bit of knowledge that I've gained over the years to wet your whistle, if you will. All right. Oops. Let's do another view here. So cool thing you can do as well, and I did it with the front end of this sketch, but let's scale this down just a touch. I'm just gonna merge it down with the other layer. But you take this, scale it down just a touch. It's gonna make the sketch feel tighter, which is why another reason I say draw big. And then stretch just a little bit and do some warp stuff. Maybe, we'll see. I'm trying to get the perspective in the back here to be a bit more exaggerated. And then also give some body. Give some body to the body. All right, so you can do something like that, and then just come in and finish with some tweaks, like so. All right, so there's one. Let's grab this guy here. So for this one, I want a longer wheelbase for this concept. So I'm going to take a portion of my underlay, just move it back a bit, and then now kind of sketch in. Maybe just some radically different concept here. This could be like a Cadillac, future Cadillac SUV or something. Super skinny, light. It like wraps a hard edge here. And maybe a nice peaked front, negative surface. Something a little different. Won't be real different. You could even really pull in terms of surfacing what's happening on the front. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, by the way, check it out. Got a community of very talented people. The reason I started it was to create a place that we could all kind of hang out, give feedback to each other. You know, on Sunday, one of our awesome members, Danny C, he's a car designer actually, offered to give feedback. So if you like sketching cars, there's people there to help out. So normally when I draw a car, I do tend to draw the wheels first, but I wanted to focus more on the body shape this time. Rather than drawing the wheels first. It's a Sketch Today Live, by the way. Thanks for joining. I'm Spencer. Industrial designer by training. Artist at art. Love drawing. hit subscribe, turn on alerts so you know when I'll be streaming next. I put up all the streams for this week though on the YouTube. So those are listed and scheduled out. Procreate also does this weird thing where when you have transform selected, if your stylus is too close to the screen, it's not going to let you actually change things. Oh, thank you, Mecca. Can I please talk about my pressure curve and brushes? Sure, I can mention my pressure curve. I don't want to do any face masks. I've kind of taken a position on the whole pandemic thing and not capitalizing. I took that position very early on, so I'm not going to do any sort of face mask thing. Alright, just repositioning composition here a little bit. Okay. Trying to make a selection here and I'm totally goofing. Alright, I just wanted to move this one down a bit. Alright. So now I can do some wheels. Exaggerating my camber a bit here so I can get kind of a stance on this wheel in particular. Like so. Maybe this actually comes out and yeah, that makes more sense. The surface goes inside. So if I were looking this way, you'd kind of have something like this, where surface goes in.
I stole a pen from the bank. I cried during a powder boy.
Shout out to Paul Sohi as always. Thanks for the beats, the tunes. Final Kaiju is his artist name. You can find him on Instagram. Fuse PS.
I didn't get Inception. I didn't get Inception. Oh.
Definitely exaggerating on my DLO here. DLO stands for daylight opening, which is... Maybe I'll come down actually. It's kind of cool. Some people call it the greenhouse. It's a really great book. Someone was watching the stream and recommended it, and I bought it just to check it out. It's called H Point. So if you're really into cars, it just goes over proportion, terms, things like that. I'll just do a generic rim here. So pressure curve was a question. Wanted me to talk about it. I like to draw a little heavier, so that's why my pressure curve looks like this. Okay, so I'm pushing somewhat hard on the screen to get the stroke I want. But you can play with it if you want less. If you want a more responsive drawing style, you can. I don't want to even mess with mine because I like where it's at, but you can pull these down, which means that you need less pressure to get more responsiveness in terms of your stroke. And how that shows up. This back wheel should actually be smaller, but don't tell anyone. I guess I can just tweak it real quick. Just scale that down. So one of the other things I don't love about Procreate, I will say, well, there are a few things, but One of the things I don't love is layer limits. So depending on the size of the file you're working on, you're gonna potentially run into some limits. The brush engine is pretty great though, I will say that. And there's other apps. Sometimes I use Adobe Fresco. I'll probably use that at some point this week. Maybe for a more painting focused episode. So yeah, Vasisht, I can't tell you exactly how to set your curve, but you just have to play with it. If it's higher to the right, it just means that you have to push a little bit harder on the screen. And so when I made my brushes, I actually made them with that in mind. Like, here's how I draw. And some people like it, some people don't. It's all good. I feel like I'm taking way too long on this Mormon sketch. Way too long. But I just wanted to do this idea. Alright, so what we can do now is just adjust our background color to like a gray, something like that. I'm going to straighten out this sketch here because it's annoying me. So just make a selection, rotate this slightly, maybe make it a little bit taller. Actually, what am I doing? A little bit wider here, and then I'll just make the wheels a little bit taller on it. Thank you, Christopher Bunniff. It's not about deserve, but I appreciate the sentiment. It's a hard go when you're fighting against, not fighting literally, but when you're dealing with an algorithm. Sounds a lot like I'm always referring to a boogeyman, but quite literally these platforms you know, whenever you see suggested videos, suggested things, they're trying to, you know, guide people to content. So appreciate the thought. Definitely, if you like it, share it, subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff. Totally helps out. Okay, so now, since the background's gray, I'm just gonna paint with light and dark. So I'm gonna switch to, I'm gonna use 3 brushes. I'm gonna use this, either the Crisp Air or Soft Air highlighter. See what I'm in the mood for here. And let's make sure it's nice and big. Okay, cool. So now I can kind of airbrush some tone to this. The thing I like about this brush specifically is it has a nice sharp core with some fall off. And the fall off will give you just some subtle shading. My tea is running out. It's not as hot. It'll give you some nice subtle shading. I think I'm gonna put a microwave in my studio. I need a microwave. That way I can warm up my stuff when when I want to. So yeah, just 2 shadow chords there. I'll do the same thing on this guy. 1. Just kind of following the form here. So it's a pretty great brush. At least I like it because I can get some nice cores in. Blends real nice. So custom airbrush that I made. And if we reduce it even more, we can get some tighter highlights if we want. So now on a layer above that, I think I'm gonna use this marker brush is what I think I'm gonna use. Just for highlights. Things like that. So we'll just make it real fast. And it has a certain look to it. That I quite like. Keep it sketchy. Keep it loose.
Comparisons to Hitler to win arguments on the internet at the drop of a hat.
And I'll hit the rims here just a little bit. Could probably have gone a little dark on a couple of those spots, but it still works. Contrast is your friend. Contrast is your friend. It's more of a personal reminder for myself. It took me a while to really lean into being able to do more contrast in my sketches. I would always kind of hesitate. So this is using the marker brush from that set. A little smaller here. So just a little gray and white treatment here to pull out surfaces. It's a quick way to be descriptive with your design without doing a full rendering. I'm gonna switch to black, new layer. All of these things are on different layers, by the way, and that is so I have some flexibility in terms of erasing things, all of that stuff. Alright, so up next we had a request for some sort of Viking helmet. Again, it's the reason, but I'll probably do 2 helmets. I'll do like a bike helmet and then maybe that warrior Viking helmet thing, since people keep asking for it. I saw a request for an F1 race helmet as well. But I'll kind of just go over how I would construct that. This brush is also additive like a marker, so the first stroke is going to be light, and then you can add to it and you can blend much like you would a real marker. All right, that was the idea anyways, to give you that familiar feeling. Alright, and if you want to add other stuff and glow, whatever, we can jump back to the airbrush. Soft air highlighter here. And then do white. Make some things glow. Highlights pop a bit more. Happy little highlights. I should probably put some shadow. Did I really just do that? Okay, I'm okay. Thought I messed up, guys. So go back to this marker and black. I just want to create some shadow here. Some more form. Right about in there. I guess I need to do this light I had here. Just block that in. So the idea was to have these kind of fins that protrude a little bit. I'm gonna do my actual light over the line work so it pops a bit more. Just keep it loose. All right, something like that, real quick. Trying to decide if I want to put a shadow on the page or not, even if it's just a little light one like that. So I'll leave that. Alright, so there's a quick tonal drawing. Some additional things you could do if you're doing something like this. I could jump in on these cut lines. Oops, wrong layer. Jump in on these cut lines here. Add some white where I need it, just to help it pop.
I don't know.
Or if you want to accentuate, identify LEDs and headlights, things like that. Those are things you can add here to help, or it might be framing out a window a bit more. Things like that. So it does sit a little bit low on the wheels. I'd probably raise it up just a little bit more, but it's fine. All right, so that is my first sketch for today. Christopher's friend. Oh, hey, Red Crimson. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing, Chris. Thank you for purchasing a badge on Instagram. Appreciate it. Not sure who did that. That was Read the Deed. Thank you very much for the support. I'm not sure, but I think Instagram was matching those contributions at some point, so. All right, so I'm just gonna make a new document here. Let's go, I'm gonna go with screen size. I'm not planning on printing this or anything. So someone requested a Viking helmet. I'll use my rough stencil here today. I can shade on the side with it, but also it's a digital pencil with a bit more texture to it. So like a sharp, soft Prismacolor colored pencil that you might be used to. So there are 2 brush packs on the website, I should mention. The one I'm using is the Mega Pack. That's the pack of 30 brushes. It's available there. That's the one I'm using. All right, so some sort of Viking helmet. I kind of did one Sunday, but I'll just talk about head. So whenever I draw a head, I'm not perfect at heads, but I basically do something like this, so egg shape, like so, down, cheekbone, something like that, eyes, nose. Some of you are gonna be better at this than me, and that's okay. But that's just how I do it. Why is this important? Well, if you're drawing something on the head, it's at least important to understand basic proportion, right? Just some basic proportion and things that are happening on the face in terms of planes, right? What's facing down, what's facing up. Right, kind of helpful. And then in terms of geometry, this is like an egg shape, so I tend to think in terms of a sphere and then some sort of ellipse, and then I'll draw the shape around it. Can I show the link for the brush tool you made? You've been a Patreon long enough, Mecca. Just hit me up and I'll send you the kit. Okay. In fact, I think it's on the. No, I do have to send you a link. So just hit me up and I'll get you that. So Patrons, if you've been a Patron for 2 months or more, you can get any brush set that I have. I think that's the better deal, actually. But I don't know, for some reason people don't want to do Patreon. I get it. I understand. So no worries there. All right, so that's kind of what I do in terms of head. So, you know, perspective wise now, you can start with a plane if you want to go full constructed method or means here. So this is kind of my halfway plane there. That's my eye plane. So now I can come back. Here's my sphere. I'm gonna extend that sphere out just a little bit from the side here, cheekbone down, back up, or not cheekbone, but jawline, sorry, down like something like that. The nose, lip, just under lip, chin. His head feels a little bit narrow, so probably pull that out a little bit wider, like so. Ear, temple, all right. So just a bit of a simplified head here. That's one perspective. But I'm essentially using, you know, using those thumbnails to kind of guide me as I do this. I think I'm sending you one sketch. I'm not sure which other one there is, but message me and let me know if I forgot. Basish, thank you. I'm glad you like them. Jean is asking for a treehouse. I can do that maybe tomorrow. I was just gonna do this head and helmet thing here. So a little different perspective here. And I'm being somewhat structured in how I do this, but meant to kind of show you guys a bit of planes, how to break things up. So anything away from the light, if you shade it, you know, it matters the direction of your shading too, but if it's away from the light, you shade that, it's going to give you a bit more depth in your sketch. Just a generic ear shape here. Neck. boards, all that good stuff. And as I mentioned, I'm working on this myself, so I'm not afraid to let you guys know that I'm not the best at it, but I'm practicing. All right, so you can use different perspectives, right, to get, so if this is more of a top-down, right, perspective, if you place things and plane them out, you can draw ahead in different directions. Okay, so what I can do now is I'll just take this head. I'm gonna 3-finger swipe, make a selection, 3-finger swipe. I'll duplicate this one, this layer. Let's go ahead and scale this down, move it somewhere here. Erase what I don't need. And I'm gonna flip this horizontally. And I'll use this as an underlay for our helmet. So 2-finger tap, swipe, and now, yeah, I'll still use the rough stencil here. So the request was for some sort of Viking helmet. Before I go drawing from my imagination and completely bungling this, because that wouldn't be fun. The computer just got a mind of its own. Just a minute. Alright. There we go. Computer just had a mind of its own. So I'm just gonna pull up a little reference here just so I kind of get the styles. I remember a little bit from Sundays. So looks like right over the bridge we have kind of a band. Sometimes it's you know, a curved band like so. There's protection for what appears to be nose and mouth right here, and then some sort of openings like so. So because I did the sketch below, I guess, should we do a beard on this Viking? You have beards, right? But because I did this sketch below, I can let's see what's happening on the side here. I'll bring this down, touch over, sketching where other point would be. But I was just saying, because I have the underlay, it makes it easy to kind of get the whole shape in where I want it to be. So the challenge for the week, the reason I'm doing this, the challenge is to sketch things that are helmet or head related. All right, so if it fits on a head, it's our challenge this week. And by challenge, I mean we have a Discord at sketchday.com/Discord. And you can post your sketches, share, get feedback. Not always from me. Part of the reason I did that too is, one, to connect people with others who also have skills, and skills that I may not have, right? I don't do everything. So one of the reasons was to connect you guys with other talented creatives, but also give you a chance to, should we do horns? on this guy's helmet. Could be like, could do horns. Anyhow, to give you guys a chance to connect with other creatives, help each other out. Turns out that if you're learning to draw, when you help other people, I say this, at least now, I've been saying it after each show, but let's move this all over. When you take time to help someone out, it gives you a chance to really think about what you're doing. So I'm going to draw through here, draw an underlay for these proposed horns. Anyhow, it gives you a chance to explain what you're doing so that you're forced to kind of break it down and you end up learning more. So anyhow, weekly challenge helmets. If you guys want to participate, sketchtoday.com/discord. Alright, so I have another underlay now that I can use. Right. If you're trying to adjust opacity in Procreate, it's just 2-finger tap, and then you swipe left or right, and it'll adjust your opacity. Tom F says, I've heard the word gerbil more times in the last year or so than since I joined the Discord. This is true. Mecha Art has an affinity for the gerb. An endearing affinity for the gerb. So thanks again for the support, everyone. Continue here. Make sure I'm on the right layer though. Right, there we go. So just doing that quick underlay lets me know exactly where I need to draw, and then I can kind of just rough in that horn. I am running out of space on the side. I could always move it, but I'm not going to. Invisible helmet. An invisible helmet, you mean a head? Is that what you mean? So one thing that makes, I think, looking at some of these images, one thing that makes a Viking helmet look like a Viking helmet, besides the general geometrical construction, is like this hand-hammered, adorned look. Rivets, things like that. Right, maybe a little double line there. And maybe my pencil's a little too thick for this, but it's all right. Okay, we'll see a little bit of this fella's eyes. So I'm gonna have to sketch a little bit of eye for you guys here. Eye, a little bit of nose up in the heezy, and then we have beard as well, right? Have some beard on this Viking dude. Sorry, I just gotta check something here. Nope, looks like I'm good. That's weird. Just got an alert from my YouTube stream. Hair is fun to do. By hair, I mean human hair. It's fun to do. It's an exercise in lines. So generally speaking, what I try to do is sketch my lines in a way that communicates form and direction and flow. Generally speaking. And you know, hair grows in a certain way, patterns, that kind of thing. I just realized I didn't finish this part of the helmet. So I'm gonna have to modify this a little bit. Alright, so how about we shade this with rough stencils, so again I can tip it to the side a little bit, much like I would with a real colored pencil. And depending on the size, the pressure we pick, should go fairly quickly. So yeah, going back to that email I got, and I read to you guys, or paraphrased and read at the beginning. I don't typically sketch with tools. I don't particularly enjoy it, because it just takes so much time, I think, and it's just really inefficient. And if I'm going to be, you know, I'm trying to be fast and as productive as possible. I don't want to be hampered or hamstrung by the fact that, oh, I don't have my ruler. Particularly as you're out drawing, if your confidence is derived from you know, having a certain tool, you can run into problems. You can run into some problems as you grow in your career. You may not have that favorite tool. I've actually heard stories too of people, you know, you get that job because you represented yourself a certain way in a portfolio, and then time comes to do some real work, and then it's like, hey, what happened? You know, why can't you do this more quickly? What's going on? So I'm having fun. I don't know about you guys, but life's good. You know, despite all the craziness that's happened last year and even more recently, life's good. Savor the moments. If you're counting down the days to Friday, you're probably not doing it right. I say, every moment is a gift. A gift and an opportunity for something. Alright, so I'll finish shading this now. A little bit more with my pencil. For those watching on YouTube, what this looks like a little bit. So I've got my Apple Pencil here, and I've now tipped it to the side, and that's going to allow me to kind of do this shading like so. Alright, so in case you're wondering how are you doing that, that's how it happens. Also, by way of information, I am using matte screen protector. I just buy the cheapest one possible. I don't like, at least some people like Paperlike, but I've heard that it wears down the tips of your Apple Pencil quite a bit. So I've heard. I can't confirm that because I haven't been playing with it or trying it out. Oh, let's turn off our underlay here. So now the underlay is off. Yeah, both underlays are off. And if you want, you can focus on the shading of our weird horns, or maybe it's shading or texture or whatever. Whatever makes you sleep at night. So yeah, a little something like that. Maybe some scratches on the old helmet. Scratches and gashes. Just a little bit of nose peeking through right there, but there you go. There's your Viking helmet. So one of the benefits of me sharing these, by the way, at least the digital files, is I can do a time lapse, or you can do a time lapse replay rather. So when you, if you're a patron or channel member, when you get that, check it out. You will. You'll be able to replay the whole thing. So I'll share the Procreate and Photoshop file. Gautam says, next time, can you do human fashion illustrations? We did a fashion week. Might be time for another fashion week. Hey, Lions, what's up? Felix, hello. Felix. But I was just gonna do a quick bike helmet or something of the sort. But fashion illustrations, trying to see if I can even do them again, because we did like a fashion week thing. Yeah, I'm terrible at this. I have to warm up again and get some practice in. All right. So once again, if you're watching on Instagram, I do have this little dongle that pipes out to my YouTube. I don't have an ideal camera setup for Instagram, unfortunately, so check that out. It's a much better experience. Or Facebook. I'm streaming on Facebook as well. You can check that out. Alright, so let's do a quick bike helmet. So again, if you want to be technical about it, you can draw a plane of some sort, right, to give you a sense of perspective. And then you can do another plane, maybe something like this. Circle here. Then up, down like so. And come down like so. And up, over. If you want to figure out where the other side is, it's pretty easy. And then throw in some straps. Right, this is where your ear would go, so it probably needs to be some sort of opening. Accommodation. Your ear. Could do something like that. And then you can kind of erase what you did to start. So it's one way to go about it if it helps you to just map out your perspective. A couple lines, keep it loose, get your general shape down, and then do the rest. Right. And once I have the general shape and perspective in place, then you can worry about design things. Right, so I have this kind of honeycomb shape that I started with anyways. And maybe I want to continue that throughout the helmet as a theme. So there's 1, 2. So maybe I'll sketch these lines down like so. And then kind of plan my design out on the helmet here. So remember, this is a surface, right? It's like a curve. So if I want to change direction now, I'd come down like so, and then draw the other line, right? So as I'm drawing, I'm kind of thinking in those terms. Now, whether this is, structurally appropriate, I don't know. We're just kind of illustrating here. Carry this line through. Yeah, so think of this as how to draw a helmet, not how to design a helmet.
I cried during a powder boy.
And then these inside lines I'll make a little bit bolder, stronger. Maybe round this out a bit more here. Think about your color, material, finish breaks. If there's things you want to tie in,
I didn't get Inception.
you can do that.
I didn't get Inception. Oh.
Maybe round these out a little bit more. I'm just going to hint at another break here in the back, like so. Not really go into drawing it. Just a little line weight to kind of pull that out. I also don't draw with smoothing turned on at all on my brushes. There's one brush I have that I should take that back. There's one brush I have where smoothing is enabled, but for me it's a brush that actually I use if I'm like storyboarding and I need a bit more precision, then I'll use that brush. But for the most part, I don't have smoothing or any kind of, I think it's called streamline in Procreate. And that's because I like my sketches to feel like a human did them. So that's why, in case you're wondering. All right, so maybe something like that. I can show the other side here. Like I said, we calculated the perspective with our quick sketch exploration. So I'm just gonna try and mirror that. And then I'm not gonna do whole strap setup. One, because I'm lazy right now. So I'll just kind of hint at, all right, there's a strap thingy. I do like how this turned out though, so I think I'll add some color to it. If not color, at least some tone, some shadow. And treat it like we would sketch on paper, even. You'll see what I mean by that in just a sec. Alright, so what I'm doing here is just creating a little line to separate the outer shell. So if you look at a helmet, typically there's an outer shell and an inner foam or padding material. Not really padding, but rigid expanded foam to absorb any shocks. Impact, if you will. Safety first. Right? Draw a snorkeling mask, please. Snorkeling mask. Maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. Are you going to be around tomorrow? For tomorrow's show? I've been going for an hour 23, so I'm going to wrap this up in a bit. And I'll give you a quick review of what we covered, if you're just joining. Appreciate you guys sharing the stream as well. For those who have, means a lot. Leave a comment if you have suggestions for future streams or videos. That's another good way to do it. Alright, so I'm just going to shade in a bit on these corners. And I'll probably do, I think, how I'll quickly render this for you guys. And what color. I could do green, I could do red. Yeah, I'm thinking a green or a red is what I'm thinking. So there's a little bit of, you know, kind of setting your perspective, thinking about what you're doing, and then getting the shape drawn out. All right. Oh, Oh, hey, Morley Bills. I have a note to call you, so we'll connect this week. This is from. I'll do turquoise. This is from my brush kit. It's available on my website for sale for purchase. Pro tip: if you sign up to be a patron, I think it's at the mid-level or higher for 2 months. I'll give you those. But if you want them immediately, use the discount code 10OFF, and I'll give you 10% off. If a bolt of lightning hits the helmet, will the user be protected? I don't know. I'm using my, pardon me, a little like air bubble. I'm using my rough pencil, it's called. It's just a digital pencil with some texture to it. So I'll zoom in and show you guys. So it's got some texture to it, right, on the edges, but also in the brush itself. And then you can tip the brush on the side to get a nice shade. And that shade is pressure sensitive as well. So if you like using a Prismacolor or some sort of a colored pencil, it's essentially analog to that, or the digital version of what that might feel like. A little bit of cleanup here. I guess this could be like a light or something. Could have a light on the back. It's always nice. Always nice.
I stole a pen from the bank. I cried during a powder boy.
So I don't want to go through the trouble of figuring out the other side and drawing that inside. So what I usually do is, on the inside of something like this, is you can just shade it in.
I didn't get Inception.
You just shade it in. So I'll just kind of overpaint right here behind. I guess these voids are going to be gray anyways. So what I'll do, let's do this again. So I'll just shade this in here. This has a nice texture to it anyways. So I'll just shade in these expanded foam voids, and then on top of this now, we'll do the turquoise, but I'll use a solid brush. Good.
I use comparisons to
Just
Hitler
this
to
round
win arguments
brush.
on the internet at the drop of a hat.
I guess it's not turquoise enough. I need a little bit more green. A little bit more green. If you want to take the time and clean up your line work, you can. It would certainly help in my case here, but I'm not going to. Not for this quick sketch. Just a little paint. Because the turquoise is over the gray, I don't really have to do any erasing. It's just gonna obscure it. If you like working translucently, however, you'll need to be a bit more careful than I am being. Let's see, I'll just outline here. You can also fill in Procreate, so if you prefer and you don't want to shade everything in, you can just kind of trace like these outlines here. I guess I could have done that all along. You can kind of trace these outlines in, like so. Right on this edge. So my kids and I were watching Solo, the Star Wars movie, and then just drag the color and drop, and now you have that color. Anyhow, I found out that there's a droid in the movie. I think it's called L3, something like that. Anyhow, this droid in the movie, actually, I thought it was all CGI, but it's there's a live performer in the droid. I had no idea. Pretty cool. Has a lot of character to it. So if you haven't, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you do watch the Han Solo movie, we were working through all the Star Wars movies. I think the last one we have to watch now is Rogue One, which is a solid movie, I think. Spoiler alert, everyone dies, but you guys knew that if you're a Star Wars fan. It's not really a spoiler because, yeah, if you've watched any Star Wars movie, you'll know what happened to that crew, risked their lives. Anyhow, it's pretty cool that I like when movies don't use all CGI. They used effects to eliminate her body from parts of the droid, like the neck area and face, but it's an actual actor that did that. Yeah, L3. Marsh Bubble, it's the L3 droid. Super fun. Super fun. Alright, I'm gonna pull some of this color in. Things like the strap here. Just pull that in, and then maybe use a lighter gray for the band. Would also look good with like an orange or yellow or something, but... And like I mentioned, maybe there's some sort of light here on the back. Sketch that in. So now I'm going to try to decide how I want to do this. I'll do a select and then we'll do it, because I like working on separate layers where possible. So let's pick a dark gray and a nice big soft airbrush, really big. Right. And I'm gonna switch my blending mode here to multiply. Get a nice core shadow through. And on the opposite of that, make a new layer. I'm gonna switch this to add. And let's switch airbrushes here to... Actually, let me think about this. I guess it depends on how the highlight is, but let's play with two different options and see. Alright. So I could highlight that way, but I'm not loving it. So I'm gonna do the soft cleaner over everything now. Then we'll jump to this crisp air. I'm going to do this one on a new layer. Also add. Turn the opacity down. And I can use this airbrush in particular to do some of my highlights. Then what you don't want to see, you can always erase. Alright, so if there's a shadow where you don't want it to be as intense, some of these edges, erase a little bit here. And where you have lightest lights against your darkest darks, you're going to establish contrast, and contrast equals 3D. kind of think of it that way. I'm working with 2 different layers here, so I gotta erase certain spots twice.
I don't know her.
So that's why I'm going through the trouble of doing this. I guess you could on 1 layer, just all depends on how you draw and how you like to draw. Like I said, there's no, for me anyways, not like I used to be, where I was like, it has to be this way. Do whatever you want, whatever works for you. And play with the opacity a bit. This layer there. In terms of finishing touches though, if you want to, I'm going to use the rough pencil again. If you want to just add above your sketch layer, you can add some highlight stuff. I can do this with rough pencil. Alright, so just on some of these edges that might be catching light, just lighten them up a little bit. Something like that. Backside here, maybe a little bit of light and shadow. So I can even take the rough pencil tip to the side and add shading if I just want to darken something up, just like I would with, you know, a real pencil sketch where I've done marker. Sometimes as a finishing touch, you guys have seen me do this, I'll take a pencil, hit the smudge, I'll take a pencil and then just go over that sketch a bit. Where I already have that color. And then for texture, let's see, I'll use the banana speckler. And it's not exactly a foam texture, but enough that I can say, yeah, there's some texture there. All right, again, about moving quickly. Strong spot there. You know, stylize it, you can have some overspray, things like that, whatever kind of works for you. How long did it take me to find my style? It's evolved over time. I've learned things, I've changed things. I sketch a lot differently now than I did as a student. Thanks for the badge, Monkey Spittle. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick review here of what we covered today. This week, like I said, on the show, on Fridays, I do what's called Fan Friday. And that's where I take your work from the Discord, show it off, say thank you, give you high five, sometimes feedback, and resketches. So it's a fun show, fun experience. If you want to participate, if you want to participate, check out sketchaday.com/discord. All right, quick review. So we did our helmet just now. All right. Second sketch we did was this Viking face shield. There's some things that changed about it. It's a little bit snug on the face. Probably change a few things there. It is not. There's a few things that changed there, but you know, went over kind of thinking about the construction overall, and then we warmed up with just these quick car sketches here. So again, thanks for watching on the Insta. Next time, join because I do have my little dongle set up so that you get a better experience on other platforms. All right. So these sketches I will upload to the Patreon folder. Can I swipe through? Oh yeah, I can swipe through. That's cool. I'll upload these sketches to the Patreon Google Drive, PSD, and Procreate format. So if you want to replay, you can replay the whole thing. Or if you just want to play with it yourself. I'm not particularly organized, but you'll kind of get a sense for how this is all organized. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Much love. Shout out to the Patrons and channel members. It means a lot. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I will always say that. I won't get tired of it. I'll be posting a video update later for Patrons and channel members as well. Just my weekly update video. If you've enjoyed the stream, take some time to teach someone what you learned. What is happening here? Take some time to teach someone what you learned. And the reason for that is it's going to force you to think about what you did, break it down in a way that you can understand, and then share it with other people to help you get better. All right, remember, passion is the process. Much love. Have a happy Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.